everyone, and welcome to Tabor Talk. So take a look at my wife. Just bought me this shirt, coffee and Star Trek, Energize. Okay, let me just put this down for a second. Okay. People have asked me, so what do you think of Joe Biden, right? What are your feelings about Joe Biden and the job he's doing? So I actually just pulled the clip from one of my favorite podcasters, theoretical physicist Sean Carroll. Listen to this, and then I'll talk for a minute. Here we go.
How do you feel about the new political leadership in the United States? Are you pleased with the first 100 days? I think fairly pleased, yeah. Honestly, by any reasonable standard, given the previous 4 years, one has to be over the moon happy with the current political leadership in the United States. And, just so I'm very, very clear about this, and I know people can disagree with me, that's fine, but I want everyone to know what I mean when I say the words, whether or not you agree with the words. Donald Trump was just, the worst president we've ever had in the United States. And it's not because of his policies. I mean, his policies weren't that great. I could complain about
I've got
policies.
like 200 videos in a playlist, the worst president of the United States, but I'll be quiet.
Of respect for what you call democracy and the institutions of government. The corruption, the incompetence, the cult of personality, the never putting the American people first before the interests of Donald Trump and his family, completely treading over all the norms of how things happen in the democratic government, all that stuff. Still to this day, it's May, still not even accepting that he lost the election. Right? That's what makes him the worst president of all time. He's still saying that,
it's July now. This was a couple months old,
but
obviously.
And this has done incalculable damage to the project of democracy in the United States of America. Democracy is hard enough to get it to work when everyone believes that we are in a functioning democracy, because people disagree with each other about what the policies should be. But when you have substantial numbers of people who will just never accept the outcome of an election that doesn't go their way, the democracy can't work. And that's enormously more damaging than any particular policy that Donald Trump might have had. So it's not that, I'm Democratic or Republican. I do end up on the Democratic side most of the time. But my objections to Donald Trump weren't that he was a Republican. In fact, he wasn't a Republican, right? He was a Democrat for a long time in his life. And I like to say it this way. Imagine some horror scenario in which Donald Trump had stayed a Democrat and had run for president as a Democrat and had won the nomination to be the Democratic nominee for president. And the Republicans had nominated someone really terrible like Ted Cruz. Would I have voted for the Democrat rather than Ted Cruz, even if the Democrat were Donald Trump? And the answer is, not only in that situation would I have voted for Ted Cruz, I would have very loudly announced to everyone that I was voting for Ted Cruz, and I would have donated money to Ted Cruz's campaign.
And I hate Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz is a terrible person, and his policies would have been terrible. But he would work within the system of our democracy much, much better than Donald Trump.
My sentiments, exactly.
And I know how bad he is, but compared to Donald Trump, he still would have been good. Anyway, so just the restoration of a functioning government at all, if you look at the press conferences and so forth, the press briefings, if you look at what kinds of executive orders are being signed, what kinds of legislation is moving forward, all of that stuff, it's just a back to normal feeling that is enormously helpful.
Yeah.
In terms of actual actions on the ground, we went from one of the worst policies for dealing with the pandemic to one of the most effective vaccine distribution policies in the world. So that's pretty good. They're finally putting actual effort into restoring the economy and jobs after the effects of the pandemic. So there's plenty of things you complain about. Like, I don't agree with Joe Biden about everything or even close to everything. I think that, on certain issues like, as I already mentioned, free trade, I think that trade should be a lot freer than he's very protectionist. Immigration and the refugee crisis, he's done terrible at, so I can nitpick those things. But compared to the absolutely abysmal rock bottom presidential leadership that we had before Joe Biden, he is unimpeachably wonderful. There you go. That's what I would say about the first 100 days.
Sean, couldn't have said it better. Okay, Tabor Talk, good friends, good books, and a sleepy conscience. Peace, love, and understanding here on Tabor Talk.